Hello, everyone. My name is Noriko Morita Hart. I'm a certified mindfulness-based stress reduction program teacher, certified mindful self-compassion program teacher, and the managing director of Center for Mindfulness at UC San Diego. Today, I'll be hosting a webinar on introduction to mindfulness and self-compassion practices for your cancer journey. And this is the agenda for today. I'll be speaking about the definitions of mindfulness. What is mindfulness? And then we're going to do a practice together, the practice of body scan. And I'm also going to speak about self-compassion and also mindful self-compassion. And then we are going to do two practices together on self-compassion. And at the end, I'll be sharing some resources that we have at the Center for Mindfulness. And today's the goal, the intention of this webinar is for you to learn a few mindfulness and self-compassion practices that you can do on your own at home during your cancer journey. And I'll start with definitions of mindfulness. So what is mindfulness? And there are a few definitions, as you can see. Mindfulness shows us what is happening in our bodies, our emotions, our minds, and in the world. Through mindfulness, we avoid harming ourselves and others. So this is from Thich Nhat Hanh. The second definition from John Kabat-Zinn, he is the developer of an 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction program. And he says mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. The third definition, mindfulness can be defined as careful, open-hearted, choiceless, present moment awareness. This is from Dr. Jeff Brantley at Duke Center for Integrative Medicine. So the second definition from John Kabat-Zinn, I just want to focus a little bit on this definition. Mindfulness means paying attention, right? We can all pay attention, to ourselves, to the things around us. But what's challenging is that non-judgmental portion. We can pay attention to things, but unconsciously we often assess: is this good? Is this bad? Is this right? Is this wrong? So mindfulness actually also means that allowing things as they are, even if we don't like it, even if sometimes it's uncomfortable, allowing things as they are. And I'm going to talk about informal mindfulness practice and the formal mindfulness practice. So informal practice can be done in any time, anywhere, on your own. And normally, mindfulness practices involve 5 senses. As you can see, the sense of hearing, the touch, the smell, the taste, and the sense of seeing, the sense of sight. Some of you may enjoy a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in the morning. That can also be a mindfulness practice moment. Maybe you start with the holding the cup and touching the warmth of the cup and enjoying the smell of the coffee or tea. And then you have a sip of the coffee or the tea and just notice how it feels as it goes into the body. Enjoying the taste of the coffee, taste of the tea. and just experiencing of this drinking, having a coffee or tea or anything. you know. So this could be the first thing you can do as a mindfulness practice when you wake up. You can also imagine going to the restaurant. you know. You look at the menu and you choose, some of the dishes that have some ingredients that you might enjoy. And you might actually imagine what it might taste like as you review the ingredients of the dish. But until you actually taste the food, you're not really experiencing the food. So mindfulness is exactly the same. We can read about mindfulness, we can listen to the talk or hear about mindfulness, but until you actually experience, you're not fully understanding what mindfulness is. So the formal practices can be done on the cushion, on the chair. You take time to practice sitting meditation practice or a body scan practice. You actually set a time to enjoy the meal. That can also be a formal mindful eating practice. But the informal practices are the ones that I just mentioned about just having a cup of coffee, enjoying the ice cream, or enjoying, nice walk at the beach, seeing the sunset. Those moments can be um, can be done in any time, anywhere, on your own, and those are the informal mindfulness practices. And to cultivate the mindfulness skills, we focus both, the formal practices and informal practices. So let's do a practice together. So this is a formal practice, uh, and we're going to do a body scan practice. So I invite you to find a comfortable and supportive posture. You can stay seated or you can lie down. And if it's comfortable for you, you can also close your eyes, either fully or partially. And let's take a few long and deep breaths. So deep breath in and deep breath out. And coming back to a natural rhythm of breathing. So feeling the breath as you breathe in and feeling the breath as you breathe out. And now slowly shifting your attention away from the breath, bringing your full focus on the feet, both left and right. Noticing the toes, noticing the heels. And if you are seated on the chair, the soles of your feet might be touching the floor. So what do you notice in your feet in this moment? You might notice a tingling sensations, or you might not. There may be absence of sensations, but you can simply notice that. Noticing the lower legs, the calves, and the shins, and perhaps noticing the touch of the clothing around the lower legs. Just noticing what's present in these parts of the body in this moment. And now bringing your attention to the knees, the top of the knees, the kneecaps, inside the knees, the back of the knees. Noticing if there are any sensations here. Or perhaps noticing no sensations here. So simply noticing what's present. And as we go through these parts of the body, or the body scan practice, sometimes some parts of the body bring up some memories. And the memories could also bring up some difficult emotions. So when that happens, you have two choices. One is to stay with the practice, even if it's a little uncomfortable, if it's not too overwhelming. See if you can stay with the discomfort that might be arising. But the experience becomes too overwhelming. You're welcome to shift your attention to a more neutral place, such as the soles of the feet, or perhaps the fingers or the hands. You might also open the eyes, maybe look around. You can also adjust your posture. So you can either choose to stay with the practice, even if it's a little uncomfortable, or you can intentionally shift your attention to something else and open your eyes. So if you feel safe enough to continue, now shifting your attention to the thighs, the back of the thighs, perhaps touching the chair or a floor, inside the thighs, the front of the thighs, perhaps noticing the muscle or the skin or what else is present here. And moving up to the buttock, perhaps pressing the cushion or the chair or the floor, noticing the pelvic area, the hips. What's present here? And now moving up to the lower back. Some of us might hold a lot of tension around the lower back. But see if you can bring a curious and kind attention to the lower back, noticing what is present in this moment. And now awareness of the middle back and the upper back. And you might notice a subtle sensations in the upper back as you breathe. Now coming around to the front of the body, belly, all the organs inside the abdomen. bringing a curious attention to the abdomen and noticing what's present here. Now, awareness of the stomach area and the chest area and the lungs and the heart. The lungs and heart breathing. Noticing the subtle rising and falling of the chest from breathing. And now, shifting your attention to the fingers and the hands. You might notice the tingling sensations in the fingers, or maybe noticing the temperature, the warmth, or the coolness in the hands. What do you notice here in this moment? And awareness of the wrists, forearms, elbows, upper arms. So noticing the entire arms and what's present here. And now shifting your attention to the shoulders, all around the shoulders, the back, around the shoulder blades, the side, the top, and the front of the shoulders. Is there any tension present here? Or perhaps no strong sensations here? And awareness of the base of the neck and the front of the neck, the sides and the back of the neck. Noticing what's present here. Now moving up to the face, noticing all the parts of the face, the lips, the mouth, inside the mouth, the nose, inside the nose, cheeks and cheekbones, eyes, all around all around the eyes, eyelashes, eyeballs, eyebrows, eyelids, and the forehead. And noticing the size of the head, including ears, and the back of the head, the hard surface that protects our brain. And top of the head, the crown of the head. And now slowly bringing your attention from top of the head to all the way down to the toes. Just checking in each part of the body, the scanning the body, and bringing the attention down to the toes. And then returning to the breath. So feeling the breath as you breathe in and feeling the breath as you breathe out. And now expanding the awareness to the entire body and noticing how your body is feeling in this moment. There may be some parts of the body that have some discomfort, perhaps a lingering uneasiness may be present in the body. See if you can simply allow those sensations to be present, if it's not too overwhelming to pay attention to. Simply allowing the experience to be here. Now, if you like, you can open your eyes if your eyes were closed. And let's take a few moments to reflect on the experience of this short body scan practice. What did you notice during the practice? Perhaps some parts of the body had some strong sensations. Or you may have also noticed the absence of sensations in some parts of the body. And I'm also wondering if some of you may have noticed the wandering mind. During the practice, your mind may have wandered to certain thoughts, or perhaps to the sounds in your environment, or maybe to something else. So, wandering mind is a very natural thing that we experience um, during the practice and also in daily life. Our mind wanders. That's what mind does. So during the practice, when you noticed that your mind wanders, that's actually a really good thing. That was the moment of mindfulness that you paid attention and you noticed and you allow that to be there. When mind wandering happens during the practice, what you can do is to simply notice without judging, and then shifting your attention intentionally to the body or to the anchor of the object during that practice. So I'm going to speak a little bit about the benefits of mindfulness practice. as you can see, there are a variety of benefits of mindfulness practice. And mind wandering also can be decreased with the practice. There is a researcher, Matthew Killingsworth at Harvard University. He and his colleagues developed an iPhone app to measure a wandering mind. And this was done in 2010. And what they did was to ask over 2,000 volunteers to install this app. And what it did was they received a random text message throughout the day. And it asked three questions. This text message often asks three questions. What are you doing? Are you aware of what you are doing? And how happy are you? So after this study, what they found was that about 46.9% of the time, the people's mind was wandering. So let's say if you are, let's say 40 years old, so about 50%, so about 20 years that your mind may have been wandering. So mind wandering is a natural thing that happens to us. So we don't have to judge ourselves when our mind wanders, but we simply recognize our mind wandering and intentionally bring attention back to the breath, to the body. That's what mindfulness practice is. And there's another research done in about 2011, 2012. Some researchers found that mindfulness meditation practice deactivates the network called default mode network. So this default mode network, what it does is that it gets activated when the brain perceives the environment or situation is not dangerous. So when we recognize that we are not in danger, for example, when we are meditating, or it could be when we are sleeping in the middle of the night, we wake up. What happens is that our mind starts wandering because of this default mode network. And what it does is to scan our brain and look for things to worry or to anticipate or to solve problems. So it goes back to the past and the future. But this research done in 2011, 2012 shows that the mindfulness meditation practice deactivates this default mode network, decreasing the mind wandering. And it deactivates the default mode network not only during the practice of mindfulness, but also deactivates the switch during the day, throughout the day. So mindfulness practice has a lot of various benefits, uh, including this mind wandering. When we often wonder about the past and the future, that brings a little bit of unhappiness into our lives. And here's a quote from Viktor Frankl. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. We are often surrounded by stimulus, things that we hear or see, the news, the stressful events, stressors in all our lives. But there is a little bit of a space as we pay attention, as we begin to pay attention. That's the mindfulness space. And as we cultivate by practicing mindfulness, the space grows. The space becomes a little bit bigger and bigger, where we can actually choose a response instead of to react to the situation. The reactivity, the stress response adds more stress in our lives. So as we practice mindfulness, we cultivate the awareness of the stressful situations, but then also to choose how we want to respond to the situations, especially the stressful situations, instead of reacting. So let's continue with the self-compassion. So these are two informal definitions of self-compassion. So treating ourselves with the same kindness as we would treat a friend when things go wrong. And treating ourselves as we would like others, friends or family, to treat us. And mindful self-compassion. This program was developed in 2010 by Dr. Christopher Germer and Dr. Kristin Neff. And the definition of mindful self-compassion by Kristin Neff, she talks about three components: mindfulness, common humanity, and self-kindness. So first, I want to talk about self-kindness. What we normally or often do when we find out that we made a big mistake, perhaps sending an email to somebody that you should have not sent, or any small mistakes, and you sometimes beat yourself up about. And oftentimes we might judge ourselves. That's our reactivity to a certain situations that we cause ourselves. Why did I do this? How stupid. Judging ourselves. And it's really hard on us. But what if we can treat ourselves with kindness and care and understanding and support, just as we would treat a good friend? When our friends make a mistake, we often give support. That's okay. It's not a big deal. You can do this. You can fix this. But most people treat themselves more harshly, saying cruel things to themselves that they would never say to others. And compassion includes the wish and effort to alleviate suffering. There is an action component to self-compassion. So it involves actively comforting, protecting, and supporting ourselves when we are in pain. So offering kindness, just like we offer to ourselves, to our friends and loved ones when they go through challenging times. Another component of mindful self-compassion is common humanity. How often do we feel that we are so alone when things go wrong in our lives, when we make mistakes? But see if we can see our imperfections as part of the larger human experience. And also recognizing that everyone suffers. All human beings suffer. When we struggle or fail, we often feel that something has gone wrong, that this shouldn't be happening. This creates a feeling of abnormality. I am wrong, leading to shame and isolation. But see if we can acknowledge the common humanity. As human beings, we all suffer. The third component is mindfulness. When things go wrong in our lives, sometimes we over identify the situations. But when we take a moment to really recognize what's happening, it might not be so bad or too bad. Knowing that we are all suffering while we suffer. And this is a prerequisite for compassion to arise. Mindfulness allows us to turn toward painful feelings and be with those feelings as they are, even if it's a little uncomfortable. Mindfulness is a balanced state of awareness. We don't suppress or avoid what we are feeling, nor are we carried away by the dramatic storyline of what's happening. This process can be referred to as over identification. So, practicing mindfulness, allowing things as they are, even if we don't like it, or even if it's a little uncomfortable. And there are two components, two qualities of compassion: tender and fierce compassion. Most people assume that self compassion is primarily tender, soft, receptive. However, compassion and self compassion also can be fierce. The fierce compassion can be the strength, the courage, the protection that we can offer to ourselves. And we cultivate both fierce and tender compassion as we practice the compassion practices. So let's do that practice together. The soft, the soothing and supporting touch, and self compassion break. And I'm going to stop the share so that you can look at me if you need. So the first practice, soothing and supporting touch, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes, either partially or fully, and beginning to just press your hands together like this, and just rub your hands gently. And just noticing how it feels. Maybe noticing the warmth or the coolness of the hands. Is this soothing? Or maybe nothing special, neutral? Oh, this is not too soothing. And now releasing the hands and placing one hand over the cheek. And noticing how this feels in your body. Placing another hand over the other cheek. So cupping your face with both hands. Noticing how this feels in your body. Is this soothing or supporting or neutral or not soothing? Now placing your hand over the heart, if this is comfortable for you, feeling the gentle pressure of your hand. Is this soothing or neutral or not soothing? So both hands over the heart. How about this one? And now crossing your arms gently and rubbing your upper arms. What do you notice in your body in this moment? And you can give yourself a little squeeze and releasing the hands and placing the one hand over the belly and another hand over the heart. Is this soothing or neutral or not soothing? Both hands over the belly, just resting here. So, this practice, soothing and supportive touch, is for you to find a place on your body that feels soothed or supported. Some people might feel this, the hands on the heart feel very supportive, or some people don't. So see if you can find your soothing and supportive touch with your hands. But right now, see if you can just rest your hand wherever it's comfortable and closing your eyes either partially or fully. And now, please think of a situation in your life that is difficult, that's causing you stress right now. So, this could be a health problem, a problem in an important relationship, or a work problem. Please choose a specific problem in the mild to moderate range, not a big problem. And see if you can allow yourself to just drop into the problem, the situation, and recall how it feels or remember how you felt at the time. Noticing how distress feels in your body. And see if you can discover where in your body the sensation of stress is most evident. And allowing your experience to be just as it is, even if it's a little uncomfortable. So making just a little more room than usual for the experience of discomfort in your body. And try labeling the experience for yourself in a gentle and kind way. Now, this is uncomfortable. This hurts. This is stressful. So, this is a moment of suffering, validating your experience as you might for a good friend. And now, knowing that what you are experiencing right now is part of the human experience, you're not alone. others would feel just as you do or did in the same or similar situation. And now let's see if we can respond to distress in a new way. Can you give yourself some kindness simply because you're having a moment of discomfort? If you like, perhaps placing a hand on the part of the body that feels stress, sending kindness through your fingers into the part of your body that's holding stress for you, or gently massaging that part of your body. And is there any word or phrase that you'd like to offer to yourself in this moment? Or maybe a word that you'd like to hear from others? I'm here for you. You're a good person. What might those words be for you? Can you repeat those words for yourself in your own mind, in your own way? And please take a moment and offer yourself kindness in a way that feels just right for you. Perhaps savoring compassionate touch or offering yourself words of kindness just because you feel distress, not trying to change it or make it go away. So please begin to release the practice and allowing yourself to feel just as you do right now. And when you're ready, and if your eyes were closed, slowly open your eyes. So just take a moment to um, reflect on your experience of a soothing and supportive touch. And the second practice is called self compassion break. They use a soothing and supportive touch to hold yourself with kindness in a stressful situation. And you might also offer a word or phrase that you'd like to offer to yourself because you're stressed, because you're having a difficult time. And there are benefits of being self compassionate, as you can see on this list. And this is a quote from Christopher Germer. A moment of self compassion can change your entire day. A string of such moments can change the course of your life. It only takes a moment to notice that you're stressed and offer kindness to yourself, either with a soothing or supportive touch, or could be a word or phrase that you'd like to offer to yourself. So when you notice during the day that you feel stressed, you're having difficult time, more than usual, See if you can take a moment to turn toward yourself with kindness and compassion that you might turn toward your friend when they are having difficulty, and offer a practice of self compassion, soothing or supportive touch, and a word or phrase that you might need to hear in that moment. And these are the resources that I wanted to share. We have live meditation sessions. It's a daily, usually it's a half an hour practice. You can just drop in and practice whenever you have time. We also have introduction to mindfulness and compassion practices. It's very similar to what I just offered today, but it's more focused on the actual practices. We also have audio meditation recordings that you can use on your own, including body scan, some meditations, compassion and loving kindness meditations. We offer a variety of programs, and these two are our main programs at the center that we offer. 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction. It was developed by John Kabat-Zinn in 1929. It was developed for people with chronic pain, people who had to live with chronic pain. 8-week mindful self-compassion program was developed by Christopher Germer and Christine Neff. It's also an 8-week course and includes the guided meditation practices, writing exercises, and group dialogues. And it's very beneficial for people who struggle with inner critic and perfectionism. And these resources can be found on our website. The website address is up under the resources. And thank you very much for your attention and for practicing together. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me at mindfulness@health.ucsd.edu. Thank you very much.